Okay, Jen. We are here today because I need to come clean with my following. Everyone keeps asking me, not everyone, but a significant number of people have asked me about my skincare routine, and I am chuckling because I've had literally no skincare routine. I mean, unless you count tallow, which luckily I met you and you were able to educate me on why I didn't want to use that on my skin. And you know, started thinking, yeah, I should probably, I'm over 50 now. I should probably have a routine. The only thing I've done consistently is glycolic acid, surface level. That's the only thing I've consistently done since I was 30, because I did see a dermatologist. This was before my son was born, and he helped me develop a routine, and I was kind of using that, but then that was the only thing that stuck. And so luckily we met, and I was using the tallow, and it was causing quite a bit of like little bumps, milia here. I noticed when I stopped using it, those kind of went down a little bit. So that was, grateful. But I really was hoping to come up with something. And luckily you started working with Moon & Skin and formulating this great product. So I've been like anxiously awaiting so that I can like have a grown up, skincare routine. I feel so like mature now and like ladylike to have that. So yeah. I was hoping we could talk a lot about it, actually, because I don't know all these things. I just am like, whatever, put whatever on my skin. It's all more about like what I eat. I think that's more important. And I think you've helped educate me in showing me like, well, what you eat, yes, but if you add some stuff to the outside, you can really, turbocharge, I suppose, or I don't know, amp it up.
Definitely. Okay, you brought up so many good points. Well, when we first met, it's because obviously I valued all the work that you did from an inside out approach. And I've seen so many people over the years that have just looked at topical skincare only and they haven't addressed what they were doing in their lifestyle. And you have to really look at the skin as an inside out organ. So I think you got away with so much for so long and not doing skincare because you live such a beautiful life where you have really good food in your diet and you do the essential things that are necessary. But I also think it's such a low hanging fruit not to do skincare. So I happened to meet you by listening to you on one of our friends' podcasts, Angela Foster.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you because I'm like, oh, the world is too valuable to not connect with people who you're supposed to connect with. I think also serendipitously, I met the other founders at Moon & Skin, and we aligned in like the way we look at nature and looking at the science and the remedies that nature provide us, and how can we best work in sync and in harmony with that in our own skin, in our own lives. Whether it's educating people on how to take care of themselves from the inside out, or using the power of nature and the ingredients that I was lucky enough to work with some brilliant formulators and coming up with these products. I'd say I want this ingredient and this ingredient because I know the science behind it. And they'd say, oh, well, these plants contain these ingredients that would really balance the harmful effects of retinol. Let's add some antioxidants or some anti-inflammatory ingredients that come from nature, whether it's Centella asiatica or green tea or jojoba, all sorts of things that are in the formulation. And they also saw things similar to me as far as the fact that as a woman, our skin changes every day throughout our cycle. What we use in the morning is going to be different from what we use in the evening, and then the seasons of life. So when you're 30,
very different season.
Yeah, you can get away with just doing glycolic acid. And even if you have a polyphenol-rich diet, you can get away with not even using sunscreen because your skin is protected from the inside out. But after 35, our epigenetics, the choices we make a bigger difference. So by incorporating skincare, you're just going to nourish your skin from the outside in addition to the inside out. I don't want people to forget about both of those. Like both of those are essential components. And I've seen so many people over the years reach for procedures and reach for answers from the dermatologist without doing the stuff at home. It's like going to the dentist and getting your teeth cleaned and then not brushing your teeth for a whole year. It just doesn't make sense. And that's how I look at skincare.
Yeah. And I love what you said, because like that's like I'm going to take some supplements, but I like to use, vegetables, and because I think, well, they're going to have all the, I don't know, like everything's going to work synergistically together somehow when you're getting what do you say, like a vitamin from a plant versus just getting it from a supplement. There's something about that. So I love that that's what's in here. I think that's really, really key. Okay, so I have so many questions.
Can I just talk about the beef tallow really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up the beef tallow, and it's not that I hate beef tallow. There are some products that have beef tallow, and I think they do a fairly good job using the concepts of beef tallow. But the issue with beef tallow alone in itself is that it's occlusive, so it blocks, let's just say, the pores.
Okay.
It holds in your moisture. It doesn't allow moisture or anything to really penetrate. And then like the vitamin A and the other like nutrients that are in beef tallow, they're not formulated in a way that's going to pass through the skin. So our skin is meant to protect us from the outside world. So it's not actually very good at allowing things to get absorbed. So you have to have someone who knows how to formulate. And while I'm a dermatologist, and I know the ingredients and the science behind ingredients, I don't know how to formulate. I could say I want X ingredient and Y ingredient, but you need a good cosmetic chemist that understands how to put those together in a way that's going to deliver it to where it needs to be in the skin, and use certain technology like liposomal technology like we have in the retinol, so that the retinol can actually get to where it needs to be in the skin to do the job to renew and turn over the skin cells and without irritating the skin.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I mean, it's just so interesting. It's like, I've been just going from the inside out, and now finally kind of just adding that outside in. Maybe if I had done this earlier, wouldn't, anyway.
But it's never too late.
I know, right?
It's like never too late to start. I've had people, I mean, we know your biological age is what, 36?
I don't know. I mean,
and your skin age.
I mean, the first thing people are going to say is, she doesn't look 36. And you're right, I don't. So, but I don't think I look 56, so. Yeah.
But I think it's energy. Like we all have energy that we walk around the world in, and the wisdom energy makes us look older, no matter what we look two-dimensionally, And I've seen your two-dimensional photos, and they're pretty hot.
Well, okay. Well, so let's talk about like skincare for somebody in menopause. Like, what needs to change? Like, why? I mean, we've kind of talked about why, or maybe we've only touched on why it needs to change, but what does it need to change to? Like, why? Like, I mean, I've noticed my skin has gotten drier for sure. Like, that's, a problem for me, but, cause it's definitely always been pretty oily my whole life. And it used to be pretty bumpy, but the glycolic acid is what keeps it from kind of being so bumpy, which is why I've used it. But yeah, that's the only, like, what else do I need to be thinking about?
Sure. Yeah. So during menopause, we'll talk about these products in a second. I'll address the menopause because these products are a core program. So we want to build everything off of a strong foundation. And then we can move things in and out depending on where we are in our cycle or the time of year or what stage of life we're in, right? But I formulated these products so that they're a core foundation. They're like the core four products that anyone can use. And then we can add in a little extra glycolic acid if you like it. My skin doesn't like glycolic acid because I have very rosacea prone skin. But one thing to your point that holds true for women in menopause is like as the estrogen declines. So in our 20s, we start losing about 1% of our collagen per year. And we don't really notice it until we're like perimenopause. We might notice like a little more sagging, usually around the jaw and the neck and the eyes. And then during menopause, when our collagen really drops, our estrogen really drops, our collagen also drops by like 30% within the first 5 years after menopause. So losing that estrogen, we drop our collagen and our elastic tissue, and then something called GAGs, which are glycosaminoglycans, which are kind of the glue that holds the whole part of our dermis together and makes it supple. And that's why we get really, really dry, and we get kind of sallow looking and dehydrated skin. So obviously estrogen is important to maintain. If we can do that either topically or systemically is the best. But what we want to really focus on as well is enhancing cell turnover during that time, because the stem cells at the bottom of the epidermis, they get lazy and they don't turn over as quickly. And the top layer of skin, it basically sticks on longer and doesn't exfoliate and doesn't get stimulated to make fresh stem cells. Likewise, as you know, in your longevity world, we get more senescent cells build up. We get all of those senescent zombie cells built up, and the fibroblasts in the dermis don't make as much collagen over time. So these are addressed internally through fasting and all of the other things that you teach your audience. And also topically, we have ways to induce this with the use of retinols to boost collagen, with vitamin C, which is a cofactor in collagen production, with stem cells that can enhance our own stem cells to produce more skin cells, and also just hydration. And actually the moisturizer created by me and the cosmetic chemist with Moon and Skin, the moisturizer has low levels of glycolic acid in it.
Oh, cool.
Not enough to cause irritation, just enough to loosen up the dead skin cells so that the moisturizer can actually penetrate.
Yeah.
Because what I see, to your point, a lot of women when they're in menopause or perimenopause, or even in the winter months when it's dry, what will happen is they're just slobbering on like more and more moisturizer all the time, even oil, and it's not getting to the skin to the point where it can hydrate the skin, because the dead skin cells are insulating. The stratum corneum is so thick. Yeah, it's insulating the skin so much that the moisturizer can't even penetrate. So we want to loosen that off without causing irritation so we can get the hydration in there.
Okay, that makes sense. They're like, they need to leave the party and they're not. So like senescent cells, it's like, it's time to go, guys. It's time to go. Okay, I love that. Well, one other question for you, just to follow up with that. So if somebody is lucky enough and smart enough to start bioidentical hormones, does that help maintain, you know, skin health a little longer? I mean, I'd imagine even on bioidentical hormones, you're still going to start seeing some changes. Maybe it slows it down, or like, you know, do we have studies on that yet? Or
there's so much we don't know because of the whole women's health initiative, and like, what actually are people using as hormones? Like, are we using mare urine, or are we using bioidentical estradiol? You know, and there's not, I haven't really seen a ton of studies on systemic. That's not my area of expertise, but topically we do with topical estriol, which is sort of like a weak estradiol, but we have estrogen beta receptors that are more prominent in the skin that we do see if someone starts it perimenopausal. Okay. So we could be in perimenopause from 35 to 50. I mean, for 15 years, and getting changes at the cellular level that we're not really recognizing at the clinical level or even within ourselves until we look at an old photo or something, right?
Yeah, I know. Trust me. I was looking at photos before Reagan was born. I'm like, oh my God, wow, I want that back.
But topical estrogen can definitely be used before anybody's in menopause, and it helps with fine lines and wrinkles. It actually helps with pigmentation, which we sometimes thought that it wouldn't, because melasma is associated with pigmentation, and it helps with the suppleness. We haven't seen as much improvement with elasticity with the topical estrogen, but I think there's so much more to be seen, and the risks are really low. Like, it's not seen in the blood, so it's worth adding. Yet, a good skincare regimen is going to support all the processes that the skin wants to do to repair itself and to protect itself. So all the time we're doing two things. Number one, we're preventing the breakdown of collagen every day by protecting our skin from UV radiation and pollution, like basically particulate matter or PMs, and environmental toxins from causing free radical damage in the skin. And then we're also trying to boost the natural production of our own collagen, whether it's through collagen peptides, hyaluronic acid, good hydration, protein. Like, I love vegetables, although I find that when people don't have sufficient protein, their skin does not look good, because your collagen is made of protein.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of pieces.
And does just eating collagen protein support that? Or you have to have like all the, you know, all the essential amino acids, right? So you can't just have the collagen protein is what I'm getting at. You probably need to be having some mix of, you know, whey protein, or like somehow getting the balance of those full amino acids, right?
You know the answer, because we have this conversation all the time.
I know. Well, I just want to make sure people know, because, you know, I mean, I know that there was at one point I was like, oh, I'm just going to have collagen protein because I found I was kind of sensitive to whey protein. And then, you know, the doctor's like, well, you know, that's not a full, like, you're not getting the full coverage. So you need to figure out some other things. So I'm like, okay, I'll add eggs and meat and, you know, a few other things to it, but I can't do the whey protein. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm protein forward, and I know you are too. We both experienced and have been vegan for a decade or more, and We've had our own experiences. And, the cool thing about these products is most of the ingredients are plant derived. Even the hyaluronic acid is plant derived. The stem cells are plant derived.
Okay, cool.
So they're Leaping Bunny standards. They're cruelty free and Leaping Bunny standards.
Okay, well let's talk about this. So like, we don't have a cleanser. It's coming, right?
Yeah, it's a kale protein cleanser. So it's not a soap.
Is it going to be green?
No, it's not. And you can't drink it. Okay. So the cool thing about the cleanser, and I know we talked about this because you were noticing your skin was a little bit dry.
Yeah.
So the biggest mistake I see when people say they have dry skin, whether it's their body or it's their face, before I throw a bunch of things at them, I ask them, like, what are you using to cleanse with? Because usually our soap is too drying. So soaps have a surfactant, which basically binds with the oils in our skin. And if it's too harsh, it's stripping the oils from our skin and it's breaking down our skin barrier. So this cleanser, this kale protein cleanser, it's coconut-derived surfactants. So there's not coconut oil, which can break out the skin. It's a coconut-derived surfactant. So it's a very mild, gentle cleanser. And I've tested it out before I approved it, where it cleanses my makeup off. And I use like micellar water afterwards and an exfoliating cotton round, and I don't have any dirt on it. So I know it's getting the dirt off.
Yeah, that's really great. Because I think you had said, like, cleanse your face and then, don't put anything on it and see, and my skin just, tightened, so it was just so tight. It's like I have to rush to get the moisturizer on. So that's like a good sign, right? That your cleanser is a little too drying.
100%.
And I'm using a creamy cleanser, so that can still happen with creamy cleansers. Obviously, right?
It just depends. I mean, I always say, let me see the ingredient list. It's like nutrition, when it has certain claims on it. I still want to turn it around and I see, corn syrup, or I see artificial color or flavor, like natural flavors. Like, I always want to see the ingredient list. So even if it's a creamy cleanser, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have harsh things added to it, or just something that's not good for your skin type. But you should not feel tight. There should be no burning. There shouldn't be a taut feeling to the skin after you cleanse. It should just feel lighter.
Okay, good. And the other thing, because we're on cleanser, I know that you've talked about cleansing twice at night, like, so to get everything off, get the makeup off and then, rinse and then cleanse again. Do you still recommend that too with even the Moon and Skin, or?
Yeah, it just depends. So I think you and I are kind of minimalists. Like, we don't wear a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
So most of the days I just wear tinted sunscreen and eye makeup, and then I just use the cleanser, and I cleanse for 2 minutes. I like people to apply the cleanser.
Ooh, like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Like brushing your teeth.
Flip the timer over.
Yeah, so apply the cleanser. I can't wait for you to try it. Apply the cleanser, rub it in with maybe a little bit of water, not so it's dripping. Use whatever device you have, or just your hands, for a full 2 minutes so that the ingredients can penetrate into your skin. But massage your lymphatics and get the product to actually penetrate. Okay. Otherwise, like,
you're going to love this. So and I've been doing this for years. I think it was like Costco or somewhere, and I got like 21 washcloths, and I use a new washcloth every single night because I was so terrified of like any bacteria breaking, and they're just gentle. I'm not like scrubbing or anything like that, but it was just a nice way to kind of get my makeup off. And I don't know, it was just a nice little treat. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. So, and I wash them, every week.
And then you use them. Yeah, I love that because, that's a great point, because I think a lot of times people are afraid to touch their face. Like, they're afraid to rub things around their eyes, but it's sort of a hormetic effect. It's hormesis. It's like we're stimulating the face, and it's basically responding by regenerating collagen. If we just leave it alone and let it hang all day, it's like sitting on your couch all day. Your muscles will just disintegrate. So our skin is meant to have a little bit of stimulation, whether it's stimulation of the lymphatics to move things through more, or stimulation of the collagen without tearing the elastic fibers to do stuff. But going back to cleansing, so if you don't really wear a lot of makeup, one cleanser is enough. If you wear a lot of makeup, like I have
today,
makeup
I'll wash twice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. But otherwise,
then do an oil-based to get the makeup off, and then use an active cleanser with active ingredients that's going to benefit your skin and nourish your skin. Okay. Because a good cleanser put on the skin for 2 minutes is going to nourish the skin.
Okay.
So the proteins in there do add some nourishment to the skin, which is what we want.
I mean, what I'm kind of realizing now is like, I just never saw it that way before, but the skin is an organ to be taken care of, just like my heart and my brain. And I'm doing, now I'm like properly supporting this organ. And this is one over half of the way to do it, I suppose, is the topical.
Just like our hair. Like we shampoo our hair, we don't expect it to just grow from the inside
and it's
out.
dead.
I know. Exactly. And our skin's
the
alive.
amount of money I spend on conditioner. Okay.
Looks good.
Okay, so then let's talk about after I do that, and I have been playing around with this. I love this stem cell C serum, because the other thing I've learned from you is that when we start applying products, we go from thinnest to thickest.
Yes.
I love that. I was like, duh. Like that makes so much sense. I just never thought about it like that. So, but I love this vitamin C serum. Because I've only been using it like a week and a half maybe, and I've already noticed just like a brightening to my skin. And I've never used vitamin C serum, so I'm let's take it out.
Okay. So I
love the way this opens and closes, because I go to the gym, and so I have to carry it back and forth to the gym, and so it stays nice.
Wait, you put it on at the gym?
After the shower in the gym.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you start your day?
Yeah, because I'll do the sauna and a shower, and so I do everything there. Not every single day, but like 4 to 5 days a week I'm at the gym.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. So this is a stem cell vitamin C serum.
Okay.
There's so many things about this, because I think that 2025 is really important for people to embrace the minimalism. And we talk about this all the time, right?
Seriously.
So minimalism is what's going to be trending, because we've gone way overboard in the other direction. So more ingredients doing more things in one product. And we have the knowledge and the technology to do that. So first of all, it comes in an airless pump.
That's what that means. Okay, well, I just like it because I can travel with it. Look, people, and then you can just...
It's really light. It's very lightweight. So hold on, let's get a pump. So it's very lightweight, which I like, because we don't want anything pilling on the skin.
Yeah.
I love the smell of it.
It's like a grapefruit tangerine kind of...
It's amazing.
It's weird.
So it's very lightweight. So you apply it. So basically, I do 2 to 3 pumps to my face, my neck, and my chest right after cleansing in the morning. Let it soak in and absorb. We always want a layer to fully absorb before we apply anything else. And the reason we want to do vitamin C in the morning is we're working with our circadian clock. So the minute our photoreceptors in our eyes, and we have photoreceptors in our skin, which is actually pretty cool, because if you have the lights on in your room, if you have lights on in your room and you have skin peeking out of the covers, you're not going to be able to sleep, even if you have an eye mask on, because you've got photoreceptors in your skin.
Oh, no.
How cool
there
is
goes
that?
my whole... Okay, sorry. That's another
I know.
Arizona air conditioning, windows open story. Okay.
So as soon as our photoreceptors in our eyes and our skin see the light, our body switches all like the metabolic clocks in our body. We have these circadian clocks, and all the enzyme processes are in like protect me mode. So like protect me from UV radiation, protect me from all the environmental insults that we come into contact with, whether it's man-made pollution or, the dust that's coming around with particles in it. And vitamin C is a really potent antioxidant for the skin. And then, so this product also has vitamin E and ferulic acid in it.
Okay.
So ferulic acid is derived from curcumin, which your audience would like.
Yes.
So it's natural, and it boosts the activity.
Turmeric, people.
Turmeric, turmeric, curcumin, ferulic acid, and it helps boost the activity of vitamin C.
Okay.
And it also has its own antioxidant properties. Now, with vitamin C, traditionally, this is why they're not all created equal. You can't just go to whatever grocery store you want to.
I was going to say, so my plan, my previous skincare plan was I would just go to Marshall's and like, oh yeah, that looks good, and I'd grab, like, that's what I was doing. Like, that's been my skincare for, I don't know, a decade.
That's what most people do, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's typically what most people do. And I see people come in with bags and bags of grocery, or like bags and bags of bottles that have done them no good. So they might have been $10 products, but there's like 50 of them that have not done them any good. And that's because vitamin C is very, very unstable. And as soon as it hits oxygen or light or heat, it turns from like a clear color. You could see the pump was clear to sort of like an orange and then a brown color, because it's become oxidized.
So that orange one that I've seen at the grocery store is like oxidized.
Yeah, not probably too good for you. Probably doesn't work. Okay. So so that's where the formulation matters. So when you're looking at formulation, you want to get something that's stable and that actually can get to where it needs to be in the skin.
Okay.
And, as a dermatologist, we're not taught this. I have to learn this stuff over time by working with formulators. So while I know good ingredients, I don't always know how to get them to the skin. So that's where scientists and formulators, we have to collaborate together.
Yeah, and you're not talking about just rubbing it on the skin. You're talking about getting it into those first few layers or,
Exactly, so
Yeah.
that it can protect your skin. If you imagine it's like a force field that's protecting the skin from all the things that are even getting through your sunscreen. Because even if you're wearing sunscreen and a hat, we're still getting.
We're gonna talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that. So,
I mean, people, my skincare routine has been abominable. It's embarrassing. So this is why I'm coming clean. Okay.
But it's okay because our skin turns over depends on your age, obviously, but like when you're really young, your skin turns over every 30 days. And as you get older, it could be like more 6 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
So in 3 months, you should have really, really noticed
Nice
a lot
skin.
of changes in your skin.
Okay. Well, we'll do updates. Okay. So after that, what am I putting on?
Oh, but I'm not done talking about the vitamin C.
Oh, no, we're still on vitamin C.
I'm
Okay.
very excited about this product. So it's so exciting. So there's also stem cells. There's plant-derived, citrus-derived stem cells, and you could smell that. So there's citrus-derived stem cells. And whether or not they're plants, plant stem cells actually do benefit. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
They benefit our human skin by sending signals to our own stem cells to boost the production of fresh skin. So we constantly want to regenerate and renew our skin. And all we're doing with these products is just supporting, we're like feeding them. It's almost like Miracle Grow for our skin. We're feeding our skin to make fresh skin cells. So, and then there's also hyaluronic acid, plant-derived hyaluronic acid in here, and aloe vera, and some other botanicals that are calming and soothing.
Oh, that's great. And I know that, I mean, a lot of people I think know about hyaluronic acid. I can't say that, but now, that it, brings in moisture from the outside to like sit on the skin or something like that? Is that?
Yeah, so it's complicated. Hyaluronic acid is complicated, and it's not the hero ingredient in here, but it is in here to balance out some of the acidity of the vitamin C. But basically, hyaluronic acid, if you just put it on your skin and your skin is dry, it draws out the moisture from the deep layers, which isn't really good.
That's not a good idea.
And that's why, like, you want to look at the weight of the hyaluronic acid and have small particle and large particle, like large molecular weight and small molecular weight hyaluronic acid, because you want to put moisture on your face first and then kind of seal it in with the hyaluronic acid because it will hold on to water. It won't draw it in from the outside unless the humidity is over 85%.
Okay. So is that the difference between like the cheap stuff I see at Marshall's versus like, the very expensive things I see online?
I wouldn't go by price.
Okay.
Because with skincare companies, a lot of the price that you're paying for is all the money they're spending on marketing.
Okay.
So like these products are really high end I've worked with a lot of skincare companies, and I've helped multiple skincare companies over the last 20 years formulate products, and sometimes the price is not correlated with
I've
the
heard
efficacy.
that. Yeah.
You kind of have to get to a certain point. If you're spending $10, you're not going to get something that's really effective.
Yeah.
But like just because it's more expensive doesn't mean that it's better. But I want to talk about the vitamin C itself. So when you look at a bottle, you'll see ascorbic acid. So vitamin C, ascorbic acid, you know this, right? But the ascorbic acid, while it's the active form in the skin, it's also the volatile form, like the unstable form.
Okay.
And that's why you can have a bottle and it's clear at the beginning of the month and it's brown at the end of the month. And then we tried to do it in airless pumps like these, but we were still finding there wasn't a longevity to it. So now with the technology, there's 2 forms of vitamin C that are active and effective and penetrate the skin and turn into ascorbic acid in the skin to do what we want. There's sodium ascorbyl phosphate, which we have in this formulation, and there's THD ascorbate. And the reason I chose sodium ascorbyl phosphate is because so many people experience acne breakouts. Even if they're 40 or 30, they still might get an acne breakout.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of people over the years who they either have sensitive skin like myself, or they get random acne at the most inconvenient times from growth factors, and vitamin C will make it worse. So I want everyone to use vitamin C every day, but I don't want them to worry about getting an acne breakout. And that's where the sodium ascorbyl phosphate form is really the best form for anyone who's acne prone. But people who aren't acne prone like me, like it's still good for them.
Okay. Very, very cool. Well, I'm definitely feeling the brightness that it says on there. So, but I mean, I'll check in with everybody. Like I said, I've been using it for like a week, and I'll probably do a, check in every so often. I'll have to figure out how often. We'll have to discuss that at another time. You know, if that should be every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or, you know.
I like people to use a product for 6 weeks before changing it up. So
Oh, I won't change anything, but I just, you know, I mean, I know it's going to be good. I'm just saying, like, just when I start seeing changes, I guess I might just film them so people can kind of see.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But just for anyone who's wondering like how often they should change up a skincare regimen, I look like every season at reevaluating your skincare.
Okay.
So you want to give something 6 to 12 weeks because one of the biggest mistakes I see is that people change it up too quickly and then they just get angry, irritated skin. They don't get efficacy of anything. They're just, they're confusing their skin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if you go and you eat popcorn and then you eat pizza and then you eat ice cream, like your stomach doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, these better be nice. So after the vitamin C, we're going to go, so liposomal retinol serum. So, right, I'm assuming that's, no, wait, am I only doing this at night, the retinol serum at night?
Yes.
So during the day, I'm just doing the vitamin C, and then I'm going to do the moisturizer.
Yes.
And I love this little moisturizer container. I love this. I don't know if people can see this, but it like pumps out like this, so then you're not sticking your fingers in there all the time. So it keeps, I'm assuming, the thing from getting contaminated.
Yeah. So it's an airless pump as well to prevent it from getting contaminated. And I know.
But if you're like me and you want to use every last drop, you can open it up once it's done and grab the last drops in there. I love that. I love this container.
I'm like you. I like to get every last drop. Like I'll cut the tubes open and scrape all of it.
Oh,
like why do we want that to go to waste? So yeah. So I mean, and when you're at the end, just the way the airless pump works, you should have maybe 1 day left in there, 2 days at the most.
Yeah. Okay.
And okay, so this is a hyaluronic acid brightening moisturizer is
and
the
it
name.
Smells so good.
I know. Isn't this smell really good?
Yeah.
It's really good.
So you have hyaluronic acid in here as well. So does it have a little bit more than maybe the vitamin C?
Oh yeah. The vitamin C is just to kind of balance it out. But this is rich in hyaluronic acid. But there's another really cool ingredient in here it's kojic acid, and it comes from reishi mushrooms.
Ooh.
So it's a reishi mushroom extract that basically produces kojic acid, and the kojic acid is lightening and brightening to the skin. So that's where we're seeing a lot of brightening and lightening of the skin. So it lightens the skin without killing the melanocytes or the pigment cells like something like hydroquinone would do. Mm-hmm. So most people have some sort of an uneven pigmentation after the age of 30. Mm-hmm. Just from
a little little things. Yeah.
So it's not enough to bleach anyone's skin. It's just enough to lighten it. Mm-hmm. And then there's also science on kojic acid showing that it helps protect the skin. Like it has some chelation effects from particulate matter in the air. So for people who maybe live in New York City or China or high pollution areas.
Or anywhere these days.
I know. Like right outside here. Yeah, like high pollution areas where it's just protecting us with the chelation effects to help prevent breakdown. And it's hydrating. Yeah, and there's tons of botanicals. There's shea butter, jojoba oil, there's green tea. And then there's the AHA, BHA. And it's only 0.5%. Okay. So like how much glycolic do you normally put on your skin?
I think it's a 10%.
Okay.
10%, yeah.
And the strength varies depending on the pH level of the topical, so they're not all related. They're not all equal. Like you can't just say 10% is stronger than 5%. Sometimes 5% will be stronger than 10% depending on how it's formulated. But this has like a 0.5%, so it's not enough for someone to feel like their skin is red or irritated, but it's enough to loosen up the dead skin cells, the dead corneocytes at the top layer, so that actually the hydration can penetrate. So the jojoba and the hyaluronic acid and everything can penetrate.
Okay.
So for someone who, I feel like this is a very light moisturizer for everyone to use twice a day. Typically, if someone's oily, I only have them use a moisturizer once a day at night. But this is the first moisturizer I've been able to use twice a day. And because of the kojic acid and its protection from the particulate matter, I want to use it twice a day. So I've been using this twice a day. I might do 3 to 4 pumps at night and 1 to 2 pumps in the morning.
Yeah, that's exactly, I've been doing that at night a little bit more. Just kind of do one extra little layer. So, okay.
And that works with our circadian clock. So at night, we have more transepidermal water loss, or TOOL is TEWL. And we want to really soak it in like those women in the 50s with the cold cream on their face. Like they had it right.
This is what I was going to say when you were talking about all this, like reishi mushrooms and plant extracts. So back when I was in high school, I had this book it was published by Vogue, and it was all these like different face masks, like pineapple and, all like these homemade things. And I like deep dove into that. I thought it was so cool. It's like something with like avocado. And so, I mean, clearly we know from some, I don't know, intuitive level that like plants can help us with our skin. I mean, I'm thinking of like the Body Shop kind of like really popularized that. Do you remember Anita Roddick from the Body Shop? I love like how she would go out to different parts of the world and see how people were taking care of the skin and what they were doing. And I don't know if that all made it into her products, but it was fascinating to me. And so when you talk about these different plant compounds and different things in here, I'm like, yeah, it just makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense.
Right. It's so hard because we want to work in the rhythm of nature and to have the benefits of nature and not deplete it. So I think sometimes when we find secrets from nature, we end up like as humans wanting all of it and depleting it,
Yeah.
And there's some science-backed stuff like green tea and chamomile that are all really calming and antioxidant. There's Centella asiatica, which can help with something called dermatoporosis or the thinning of the skin that we get, and that's in these products as well. So they take little amounts of like a whole bunch of different botanicals and they extract it and put it in here just so you have enough without losing the homeostasis that we're always trying to maintain.
Well, and like you said, this is like this is going to be like the core, and then
we'll talk about how to integrate
different things. As you guys develop more products, as people need different things, they need to go out and get other things.
Totally.
Based on what they need.
The other thing as far as minimalism goes, so a lot of times in the past I've seen, eye cream, neck cream, hand cream. Yeah. No, not with this. This is tested around the eyes. So I use like 3 to 4 pumps at night. I put it everywhere, all around my eyes, my neck, my chest, and then take the leftover, sweep the back of my hands.
Okay.
Every single night before
So it will
bed.
penetrate that eye. That's what I'd always heard. Like, you have to have eye cream because it won't, your regular moisturizer won't penetrate that skin. But
how is it different from it is different. It has less oil glands than the rest of the face. So sometimes we need more hydration, but we really need to make sure something's tested around the eyes just to make sure it's safe. We're not putting it in our eyes, but we're making sure it's safe around the eyes. So this product is safe around the eyes. So it's just like, how many less steps are we saving? We're saving a step of doing growth factors or stem cells in the morning. We're saving another step of not using an eye cream, not using a neck cream by having like multiple ingredients in one product.
Well, and let's talk about the environment. That's just that much less packaging that, we're throwing away or recycling or whatever, so. Okay. So that was like thickest to thinnest in the morning, but thickest to thinnest at night. Are we using, no, we're not using the vitamin C at night. I'm using the retinol and then the moisturizer.
Okay. I don't want to talk about the night until we talk about sunscreen, Julie.
Oh God. All right,
so
people,
morning.
I'm coming clean. I don't use sunscreen. I never really have. It makes me break out. And but I will. I went to Hawaii and I will use it like if I'm in the sun, like if I'm going to go hiking.
Okay,
like
that
I
photo
will.
you sent me was ridiculous though. That was way too much sunscreen.
Well, I know because I had already gotten sunburn because I didn't use it the day before. But like if I'm going to Hawaii or if I'm, like I know I'm going to be out in the sun all day, then I put sunscreen on. But like I'm mostly working from home and I know I have a window next to me. I know I can still get like issues from the window. But I do have for sure in the summer I have the drapes drawn because it's just too hot. It's too hot. So I'm kind of inside a lot. And I just noticed if I use even the zinc moisturizer, the titanium-based sunscreens, after so many days, my skin will get dull. And if I'm not exfoliating in some manner with glycolic acid or a retinol or something, like I will start breaking out as well.
I think we just have to find the right one for you. So
okay.
We're so different because I'm outside like 3 to 4 hours
a
day.
I know.
I'm always outside, like whether I'm hiking
or
biking.
And this may change once Reagan once my son has gone, then my schedule will be a little bit more different.
I just leave my kids at home. No, I'm just
No.
So, I mean, like, there's so much science showing that visible light and the blue light from the computer screens are damaging our skin cells.
Okay.
So I definitely like people to wear, I don't wear sunscreen anywhere on my body except for my face, my neck, my chest, and the back of my hands. And then the rest of my skin I cover with either clothing, or I also take certain supplements to help protect my skin from the inside out.
Something or other, yes.
Yeah, polypodium leucotomus, which is
yeah.
a fern extract. But also, I mean, all the stuff that you've taught me to eat, all of the food that Julie has taught me to cook, because I'm always getting takeout. So I feel like the natural SPF of my skin has increased by having that kind of a diet. But I also feel, just like we need skincare, we do need to protect the areas that we are going to be exposing every day, because we are exposing our face and our neck and the back of our hands every day, like all day for 100+ years. So I don't want those areas to look weathered. So I have people, you have to play around and try to find the right sunscreen.
Because I have tried, like, expensive ones. They just...
Yeah, no fragrance. I can give you a couple brands. Like, I like Elta MD, I like Elastin, but you're wasting your money on skincare if you're not protecting your skin from the sun. You can use Brush On Block, which is like a powdered brush on sunscreen. There's a lot of different sunscreens, but zinc oxide, SPF 30 or higher, and then I'm happy.
Okay. And you can do it once a day. Like, there's this whole idea of having to reapply, like, is... Okay.
Yeah,
because that was my other thing. I'm like, I am not going to reapply this thing. Like, I'm going to do it once in the morning, and that's it.
I think that medical legally we have to say that, because the way that the tests are done to grade the SPF are for a certain period of time.
Okay.
So we have to give those recommendations from a practical prac standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to be doing that? We already have makeup applied or whatever. We're living life. We don't want to keep applying it. But I do like the Brush On powdered sunscreens for that reason, just sort of fill in the blank kind of thing.
I mean, if I were out in the sun all day, I mean, I would reapply. I mean, that all
or wear a hat. Yeah.
Oh, I'm both. I mean, both happen. Yeah.
But it's so easy. So morning, you wash your face. You put your vitamin C on right away after you wash your face. You go put a layer of clothes on. You come back, you put your moisturizer on. You brush your teeth and let that dry. And then you put your sunscreen on and you're out the door. It takes no time.
Okay.
It's like,
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I made you do the beet kvass and the beets and all the stuff. I didn't make you, but like,
I'm addicted.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay.
I'm addicted to the beet kvass.
I know, it's so good.
So good.
So good.
Does everyone want to see my veins and how pumped they are from the beet kvass? My nitric oxide is just off the charts. I love it.
Okay, so we got my morning.
Okay.
I'll figure out the sunscreen, and then nighttime. I'm washing again. Well, I'm going to take, if I wore makeup like today, I would take it off with some kind of, what do you call it? Micellar water?
You can do, yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so I use micellar water for eye makeup. You can do that, or you can do an oil-based cleanser. Just some sort of an oil to pick up the makeup.
Okay. And then cleanse with the cleanser.
And then cleanse with the cleanser for 2 minutes.
And then I'm going to be using the retinol first.
Yes. So now we're working with our circadian clock at night.
Okay.
So our circadian clock at night, we're preparing it at night, and I don't do this step until I'm ready to turn the lights off.
And the one thing I do wash my skin I do wash my face every night. I will say that. I might use crap products, but I do wash my face every night.
You might have in the past, but
not
you
anymore.
Won't be using it
not
anymore.
Now I'm going to have I'm going to have grown up. I'm going to be a grown up and have grown up skincare.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Okay. So same as the vitamin C, it's an airless pump. And if somebody is a virgin to retinol, you can see this isn't as thick as the vitamin C. I don't know if you could all see that. But I would do one pump to the whole face and avoid the creases around the eyes, around the nose, and around the mouth, and around this area of the neck. But otherwise, I put it in all of these areas.
It's because it settles in there, right? And then that causes more irritation.
Yeah, it can. I put way too much on me. Yeah. Okay, so with the retinol, basically at night is when our body is in renewal regeneration. So we want to support that with vitamin A. So retinol converts in the skin to retinoic acid, which sends signals into the cells to regenerate and renew. And the issue in the past with retinol is that it kind of like peels away the top layer of your skin. Have you used it in the
I
past?
have, yes. So my sister and my sister is 8 years older than me, and obviously my mom is, whatever, 23 years. They were using it a lot, and so they gave me like the real Retin-A, like the prescription strength. And so I did use it for a while. But the things I didn't like about it, like you said, I felt like my skin was just getting peeled off, and then it made me way more sensitive to the sun. And I was living in California. And again, at that time, I don't remember, it was like you either had to use full zinc, like they didn't have, or you had to use those other ones, and those other ones like gave me painful bumps. So I just kind of stopped using it. But I used it probably for like a year or two. And I noticed like I can always tell when older women have been using it for like 40 years because their skin is like white and it's really thin. It seems like, I don't know.
I think they had CO2 laser resurfacing.
Okay. But it just looks wrong. Something looks too thin.
Not from retinol.
Okay.
No, retinol.
I mean, Retin-A, I guess, is like the prescription one.
So prescription Retin-A is the name brand for tretinoin or retinoic acid.
Thank you.
So retinol converts into retinoic acid in the skin.
Okay.
It goes through one other stage before that into retinaldehyde, but retinaldehyde isn't absorbed very well topically. So that's why most people use retinol. So retinol is weaker than prescription strength. It's weaker than prescription strength tretinoin or Retin-A or whatever name brand. There's hundreds of name brands out there. Yet it's more tolerable. So the closer you get to the end point, the more irritating it can be for the skin. Like for me, I just peel. I look like I'm peeling all the time.
I would just get red and, and I made the mistake of putting it in here, which is how I knew not to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
But it's also the most scientifically studied ingredient since the 1970s. And I'll just call them retinoids. So with retinol and other retinoids, basically they turn over skin cells, they help stimulate collagen formation, they reverse sun damage. So just say someone's in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, they're like, oh, I've never done anything and now I want to do something. Retinol's the thing to do because while it's not trending on TikTok and it's not as sexy as other things, it's because it's boring because it works. Like,
it's like an
no one's talking about
too.
chicken, maybe some things, but like, because it's like, we know it's a good protein and it's just, we know it works. It's not a trend that's going to go anywhere. It's just getting it to be tolerated by people without having the irritation. And that's where the formulation matters. So I found a cosmetic chemist that can make a liposomal technology. So liposomes are really cool because it's basically an encapsulation. So the retinol is encapsulated. It's surrounded by a capsule.
Okay.
And on the outside of that capsule are phospholipids, which basically are, phospholipids. They go through the cell membrane. So they go through the epidermis without irritating the integrity of the epidermis, and they get delivered to where they need to be in the skin.
They're sneaky.
And the encapsulation allows it to be delayed release over time. So you don't get that punch. You get more of a delayed release and benefits of the signals to stimulate collagen, reverse sun damage, lift off pigmentation, help reduce fine lines and wrinkles.
Okay.
The whole night while you're sleeping. And then obviously throughout that time.
That's really cool. Okay, good, because I'm looking forward to using that. I was thinking like, oh gosh, I don't know if I want all the irritation.
Have you used it every night?
I haven't used it. I haven't used haven't used like tretinoin in years, and then I haven't used like a retinol.
So if someone hasn't used a retinol, even though it's liposomal, I would still have them start 3 times a week.
Okay.
So just do 1, maybe 2 pumps to the face, neck, chest, and then always take the rest on your palms of whatever high-end skincare product you're using and sweep the back of your hands because we know this area ages too,
Oh, I know. Trust me. And
I would do that 3
all of
times a
YouTube
week.
let me know too. Anyway, okay.
Your hands don't look 36. Wait, so are you doing your glycolic acid?
No, I don't. I only do that in the morning. I never do that at night.
You do that in the morning?
Yeah.
Why would you never do that at night?
I don't know. I think because I used to use retinol at night or tretinoin or whatever, the prescription stuff. And then I just have always associated that with the morning. I don't know.
I would probably do your glycolic every other night alternating with retinol for like 2 to 3 weeks and see how your skin does.
Okay.
And then if your skin is doing well and tolerating it well, I would boost the retinol 1 night per week or 1 night every 2 weeks until you're able to do it every night.
Okay.
Alternatively, what you can do if you don't want to give up your glycolic, because if someone's on something, I don't like them to just change abruptly. I like to kind of ease in and out of things. I would put on your glycolic after the vitamin C in the morning.
Okay.
Because vitamin C actually will do better in an acidic environment.
Okay.
So it won't hurt it. There are certain things that don't do well with acids, like growth factors. You don't want to apply acids at the same time as growth factors. But with the vitamin C, you're not going to have an issue, even though there's stem cells in there. I think they should be fine with a little bit more of an acidic environment.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just let it dry.
Ooh,
and
I'm all grown up, and then I'll do the moisturizer after the retinol.
Yep. Then you want to take your moisturizer again and then just load it on. So it's so easy. It's 3 steps morning, 3 steps night.
I love the no neck cream and the no eye cream.
Well,
I mean, again, especially as somebody who's going to travel. First of all, these are great for travel, but I'm only traveling with this much instead of like, you know, when you see those women with the train carriers or whatever, you know, with all this stuff. I'm just not that kind of person.
Right. And the cleanser hasn't come out yet. I think it's going to come out in about a week.
Okay.
And I believe it's under 4 ounces as well, because that's really important. We both travel a lot, and I want to bring my stuff when I travel. I don't want to go to a new environment with unknown conditions and unknown skincare. I want to keep it consistent.
Yeah, I think it's 3 ounces with TSA, right? Is it 3 ounces? I don't know.
I thought it was 4.
Maybe. I don't know. So many
We'll
milliliters.
find out.
Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be fine. This is only 1 and 1.7, 1.8. So it'll be fine. So that's great.
Let me think if there's anything that I forgot. Okay, so the retinol is liposomal technology. Other cool things about the retinol that they were able to formulate in is it also has low levels of hyaluronic acid. So it kind of, you know, it doesn't feel burning on your skin or
Not
drying on your skin. It has that sort of like that I don't want to call it the glycerin-like feel, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It has just sort of a soft feel. And then there's also the green tea. There's propolis in it. And then there's that antioxidant complex with the chamomile, the cucumber, then centella, asiatica in there. And then there's also a little bit of jojoba oil. Okay. It's not enough to make anyone greasy, but just enough to keep it balanced and lightweight, which I like.
Love it.
Super elegant.
So what I'm going to do is, I don't know. I have to figure out some way. I want to almost like do like weekly face updates and pictures and stuff for people. I have had just so you know, so keeping you guys on your toes, I did have my face age tested, which came out at 54, which wasn't so great. I'm 56, so, and it had a lot to do with my eye area. So we'll see if I can lower my face age according to this, and I'll make sure everyone knows whatever. It was in the dermatologist's office. Right. So I'll figure out what that.
I think it was one of those machines. It was the it was a machine. It was
some kind of machine. I put my chin on it, and it gave like, and there is some serious sun damage going on underneath. You know, photo stuff. Yeah, if you saw that, you'd be like, "Yep."
I have it too.
Use your sunscreen.
I haven't had my age tested though, but I had that looked at years ago, and I was like, yeah, it's all pushed below though, because I've been using so much skin. But I mean, we both grew up in an age where it was trendy to be tan.
I was a swimmer. I mean, I was in the pool every day.
I was 29 when sunscreen came out. I'm like, why would anyone want to use that? I purposely want to get a tan. Like the only reason I go in the sun is to get
oil and then the foil.
100%. Yeah. You know, but it's never too late. Like it's never too late. We're all like human.
Well, anyway, so we do have some you know, scientific way of figuring this out, but I'm also just going to kind of go by like some pictures and just come up with some weekly way of testing this. And I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great because it's definitely better than tallow and stuff I'm getting at Marshall's. So anyway,
you're like the perfect person to start with, right? But the thing is like, I don't want anyone to think that we want them to hamper their lives. Like we live really full lives. We go outside every day. We clearly, you know, I tell you this all the time, how I grew up in like a poor family and I didn't have anything besides iceberg lettuce and canned peas until I was like 25. And in college, I lived off of alcohol and Fiber One cereal and apples. And like, here we are today. Like we're doing the best we can. And that's like all everybody
We won't talk about my past, trust me. But you can definitely turn things around.
Yeah, we can turn things around, you know? And like, it's definitely more fun when you have a friend to do it with.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. This is going to be fun.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.